Peace and blessings to everyone today. Hope everybody is doing well on this wonderful Friday. Sabbath day is approaching us, so I want to try to get this video out before I learn to give myself rest as I continue that. And if you don't keep the Sabbath day, that is okay. And if you do, more power to you. But please understand, try to get closer to God, spend time with friends and family, do new or old things to get closer to God, and learn to give yourself rest as you continue to grind through your ambitions, your dreams, and your goals. And try to align them with what God's plan and his purpose is for you. And it is okay if you do not keep it. You could be learning it. You could have forgot or anything. But guess what? God judges us off our heart's intents. Meaning that everything that we do in life, it has to be a reason behind it. He's going to see why did we commit this within our hearts. So if you don't keep it, it is okay. But try to keep it to the best of your ability. Now, today's video is going to be very important. It's going to be a classic, and it's going to teach us a lot. We need to have this knowledge and discernment of what to avoid when we are trying to walk with the Lord, because it's a lot of distractions that are trying to take us away from God every single day. Now, I say avoid these spirits, and this is from experience and this is from knowledge from God. And I always provide these verses for us. And to start off, before I even read what spirits to avoid, we're going to start off with 2 Corinthians 6:14, and it tells us why we should avoid these spirits. And God says, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion have light with darkness?" You got to understand that. What fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion have light with darkness? It's like trying to mix oil with water. They don't go together at all. Light and darkness, they don't go together at all. Now, you got to understand, you do have to balance your life out. Sometimes you will have to sin to be shown that you are a good person, but that don't mean that you are a bad person just because you had to commit something. Or what if you got to defend your life or something like that? Just because you transgress against the word, that don't mean you're really transgressing against God all the time. You have to understand that. And God understands that also. Sometimes we're going to mess up. Sometimes we're going to make mistakes. But he says a righteous man's always get back up. And evil fall into his own mischief. Now, to go over these spirits, and it's a lot more spirits, but this could just be a part 1 of the video. I most likely will make a part 2 because it's a lot more things to avoid in this life that we live. And to go over them, we're going to talk about non-believers. We're going to talk about the Jezebel spirit. We're going to talk about succubus and incubus. Those are sex demons. We're going to talk about witches and warlocks, and we're going to talk about narcissists. And I got a verse for every single one of those. So the first one we're going to go over is non-believers. And let's see what God says about non-believers. In 2 John chapter 1, verse 9 through 11, he says, "Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ have not God. He that abideth in the doctrine of Christ, he have both the Father and the Son. If there come any unto you and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. For he that bideth him Godspeed is a partaker of his evil deeds." Now, God also tells us to love one another, pray for one another, pray for those who persecute you and everything like that. But this is speaking so different, because as we continue to learn to walk with God, it's going to be a lot of counterfeits. It's going to be a lot of tests. It's going to be a lot of people sent your way. But if any of these people don't bring you doctrine, and be careful, because some people really can fake these things, like the Pharisees and the scribes. They know how to use the word, but they also are not practicing the word. They know how to use the word, but they also are not practicing the word. So, meaning, it's a lot of Christians out here, people. It's a lot of people who go by the word and they don't actually show it. So you have to be careful with that also. You have to have that discernment. But he says, if anybody not bringing the doctrine of Christ, Receive him not into your house. That doesn't mean don't bless them. That doesn't mean don't pray for them. That means don't let them into your heart. Don't let them into your household. Don't let them into your area, your environment, and do not give them Godspeed, or you will be partaking in their evil deeds. You got to understand, a lot of people are not trying to even take responsibility in today's life. A lot of people are not trying to take accountability within their own actions. And if you are doing these things, it makes them feel comfortable. You cannot let people feel comfortable. You cannot let people come into your household feeling comfortable or anything like that. Or you will be a partaker in their evil deeds because you're not telling them right from wrong for real. And especially if you got the knowledge of the Father, oh yeah, you've been a partaker of their evil deeds. Now let's go on to the next one. The Jezebel spirit. Now what is the Jezebel spirit? We gotta really continue to read on Jezebel, but as far as I know, she was a woman who used her sexual rights to persuade people away from God. And she became this spirit because God gave her a chance to repent and she did not. Jezebel is the goddess of fornication. She's the goddess of fornication, and her spirit lurks in but in many people in today's life. In many people in today's life. And it goes through men and women. Now, you will know a Jezebel spirit because they are bold in their actions. They are bold in their actions. They'll let you know that they don't believe in God. And they'll try to persuade you with sexual things. And you got to understand this. Men and women, we have to learn to take back our power. And our power is our sexual energy. Our power is our sexual energy. Men practice semen retention. I don't know what they really call it for women, but I say practice celibacy. We have to, because you got to understand, these are the easiest ways to get caught up within your flesh. The easiest way. You got to see what's being pushed out in today's world right now. The easiest way. Man, you already know how I feel. Once you even see her, look, her legs are like this. Once you see that, man, you already know how it feels to even it feels like a warm hug to even have intercourse with anybody. And it makes you forget everything because you're living in a moment at the time. This is why Jezebel was so powerful. She was able to persuade many people away from God, just opening her legs, and that's very dangerous. Now, and in Revelation 2:20, it says, "Notwithstanding I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols." She would teach people to praise other gods besides the true and living one, the King of Kings. Also, and she was calling herself a prophetess, but she was a sexual demon this whole time. She had the spirit with her, and she did not even want to let the spirit go. She was indulging in it. She did not care. And that's the crazy part about it. That spirit lurks around in men and women today. Men that are pimps, the hub stars. You gotta see this, guys. You gotta see this. This stuff is still around today. And I also might show a clip of a Jezebel spirit in action. I might have to, just because. But God says, stay away from this. For they commit fornication to persuade you away from God. And that's so dangerous. Moving on to the next one. We're going to talk about succubus and incubus. Now, what's the difference between a succubus and an incubus? Well, first of all, succubus is just a female sex demon. Incubus is the male sex demon. But how is this also different from the Jezebel spirit? Well, anybody can become a succubus and an incubus by just indulging in sex, being consumed by their sexual energy. Now, a succubus and an incubus can also believe in God, but they're consumed by their sexual energy, meaning that it's hard to let go. And they letting this spirit dwell in them. Now, that don't mean that they using this spirit to, do what Jezebel was doing. But they also are consumed by the most dangerous thing, which is lust. And God says in 1 Corinthians 6:8, 6:18 through 20, he says, flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. What? Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not of your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. God says when you even do these things, when you even glorify God in your body and your spirit, you become a God yourself. But you gotta okay, man, for example, when we out here watching the Hub and we relapse, you feel that tiredness, you feel that emptiness. That is literally the Holy Spirit departing from you. Unfortunately. Literally, we spilling our seed. Us spilling our seed is the same thing as abortion. It's the same exact thing. And we do it as much as abortion, just as these women do. Unfortunately, it's not the same thing as just pleasing your woman and, she going to doing what she got to do. When you sit here and give in to these things, you also are giving in to another man's success. And you're giving yourself a false success. And these things feel like success to us because the human body craves sex. And it's not even your fault that the body craves sex. Procreation was a gift given from God. But the devil taught us how to use it as pleasure. He taught us how to use each other as pleasure rather than love, rather than caring for each other, rather than bringing people into this world, rather just learning how to procreate out of righteousness. He learned how to do that. So that makes our bodies ungodly. We're denying our own godliness when we do these things. You waste your energy because, first of all, your physical start to give up. You lose muscles, you lose brain activity, and your dopamine levels start to spike on a different level. They go out of control. Everything seems boring to you and things like that. And that's only because it's false success. False success. It's not real. We have to not indulge in these things, man. And that's for women too. I know it's hard out here. Trust me, I struggle. But that's why I'm on this video right now, relating to you, telling you it's time to wake up and do something different. And once you learn how to do these things different, watch how so much different things start to gravitate in your life. Watch how so many different things start to gravitate in your life. And it's going to be all because of God. And once you let your lust go, that's when God really starts to work with you, because that's one of the most powerful things that's take over people today. That's when he really starts to work with you. That's when he really can use you as a vessel. It's over from there because you really become untouchable. You in control of your emotions, your intelligence, your mindset, your heart, your body, your spirit. You become way more powerful. I promise you. Watch what happens. Just give yourself 7 days and watch you feel a difference. On to the next one, witches and warlocks. Now this one is crazy because, and it's going to sound crazy because we all read books like Harry Potter. We all watch movies like Thor. But I'm telling you, these things that they put out into the world, they make it seem fake. They put it on the TV to make it seem fake. So when it does happen to you, it's a big surprise. And it seemed like it was nothing that was supposed to even be in the world today. But no, I promise you, there's so many dark things in this world that we live under that is so unseen. So much done in darkness. And that includes witches and warlocks. Now, who are the witches and warlocks? The horoscope tellers, the tarot readers. Hey, I'm telling you right now, do not indulge in these things. Do not let these people tell you what your fate is. And even God says this in Leviticus 19:31. He said, regard not them that have familiar spirits. What are the familiar spirits? Neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. And he's telling you, I am the Lord your God, because he determines the dice that's going to roll in your life. Not other people. He determining the dice that's rolling in their life, in the witches and warlocks' life. He's hardening their heart because that's what they want to be around. They want to give into the dark. God gives you your reprobated mind. because that's what you want to indulge in. He gives you everything you want. And if that's the side that you're gonna choose, then so be it. People that are witches and warlock, they chose to be witches and warlock. Nobody ever just takes over a vessel. The devil can't take over your vessel by you just chilling and stuff like that. It's all about your mindset, and it's all about what's in your heart. You open the doors to these demonic spirits. You open the doors to these demonic strongholds. You have to be able to learn how to control and close them doors ASAP, and give it and submit to God. You should have teamed about, I believe it also is in Leviticus where they was talking about, that's when the abortion thing started to come to life. Because first of all, when was it? Women was after they had their baby, they didn't want God to give them an unknown fate, so they were sacrificing their babies to Baal, which is crazy. Baal is still around today. He's not going. He's forever going to be around. And he's forever going to have power over the people that give it to him. The devil don't have no power unless you give it to him, bro. Literally. And that could be the same thing for God, but in a different sense. Because first of all, it says surrender and submit to God. If you're not surrendering and submit to God, you're not letting him give you the power. You're not letting him give you the Holy Spirit. And it will depart from you once it sees that this flesh don't even want me. And it also says the same thing about the devil. It says, resist the devil and he will flee. You see how it is? Evil is mimicking good because the devil wants to be God. He's mimicking him. He wants to be him. We're moving on to the next one, though. This one is kind of long, but this one is very important because we're going to talk about narcissists. And it talks about this in the last days. This is going to be very, very heavy. This is going to be something that you're going to see a lot. Narcissists. People who are lovers of themselves. And it talks about what it means to even be a lover of yourself. In the last days, according to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 7, right? Now, bear with me because this is kind of long. This note also that in the last days, perilous times shall come. For man shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affections, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than the lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away from divers lusts, ever learning and never able to come into the knowledge of truth. That last part, they are ever learning, but they never able to come to the knowledge of truth. Have you ever argued with a narcissist before? Crazy. And they even know how, they know how to apologize to you, but they still go back and do the same thing because they so locked into they self. And this is just the world teaching people how to possess this spirit. Because as we continue to go through life, right, kindness is not a good thing to people. Love is not a good thing to people. Hate is what's seen as good. Evil is what's seen as good. And it says, well, they're ever learning, but they're never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. They can know everything. They can even know you right, but they will deny the knowledge of the truth. They know, but they will deny. And it's so sad to say, but this is what a narcissist does. They're boasters, they're proud, they're blasphemers, they're disobedient to parents, they're unthankful, they're unholy, they're high-minded, they're traitors. They think of nothing but themselves, of how they can take advantages, and they even try to do it to God, and that's the crazy part. You're going to see that a lot in the last days. You already see it in a lot of people, and it's becoming worse and worse as we continue to indulge in social media, building our own kingdom, followers. Social media is to even teach you how to do this. Doing anything and everything to get your way. And that's sad. But these are the 5 spirits. And it is more. Best believe it is more. But these are the 5 spirits that you should be trying to avoid. Non-believers, the Jezebel spirit, succubus and incubus, witches and warlocks, and narcissists. Now to end this video, you got to understand that if people possess these spirits, we're not fighting against people. We are fighting according to Ephesians 6:12. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in higher places. We're not fighting against people, bro. We fighting in an unseen world. That is what we fighting of. And that's why God says to pray without ceasing. That's why God says to pray for one another. That's why God says to pray for people who persecute you. That's why God says it's a blessing to be hated, because they don't hate you. They hated me first. They hated God first. They hated Yahshua first for just doing good. And I also made this video because it just be people in the comments like, it don't even make sense, right? It could be a verse about just trusting God, and then people would be like, you teaching people how to be in a cult. What? Like, dude, it be the craziest stuff I ever seen. And it's like, that's how I know God's so real. Because if people just saying that, like, God doesn't even make you choose. He gave you the free will to do exactly what you want, and will let you do what you want to the last day of your breath. And it's so crazy that people will sit up there and say that, but they're sent. You got to understand that they're sent, and they already give in to the reprobated mind. They already give in to the carnality. They already give in to what Satan has to offer them. And then there was this other person, like, in the comments talking about your creativity doesn't come from God. It comes from your consciousness. Who gave you a consciousness? If your creativity doesn't come from God, who gave you a consciousness? Who gave you the mind to have creativity? Not your mom, not your dad, because you also have a choice to not even use your mind. You also have a choice to not even use your heart. You have a choice to be lazy, slothful, and all type of crazy stuff. Like, it just be a lot of excuses, and a lot of people just want to discredit God for what he has given us. And that's very sad. But at the end of the day, we can't focus on that. Stay focused on the one true King, the living spirit, where all these other guys are already dead. Peace and blessings.